Chicago, Illinois, told the highway of 575 pounds. Hawk, and the Legion of Doom. What's up, guys? Today we're going to be doing a review. Not your typical review. A DVD review, holding my hands. The Road Warriors DVD, The Life of Time. Greatest tag team in wrestling history. If you know your wrestling history, to me, when you think of tag team wrestling, was and always will be, you have the Road Warriors, legendary tag team, Hawk and Animal. If you have a Mount Rushmore of tag team wrestling, you have Hawk and Animal on top of the mountain. There are two guys, Mike Hickson, Hawk, Joel Laurinaitis, Animal. Two tough guys who were like brothers, grew up together in the city of Chicago, Illinois, Windy City. They were not your average two guys from the streets of Chicago. These guys were trained as professional wrestlers. Moved to Minneapolis, Minnesota, and they say the rest is history. When I first started watching wrestling, it was when the Road Warriors, to me, they were the ones that started. Unlike other tag teams, they always start from the bottom to with. But for Hawk, Michael Hickson and Joel Laurinaitis, these guys were like not your typical tag team in wrestling. In professional wrestling, these guys were bullies. They were tough guys. They were massive. They were huge in the wrestling business. For those two guys, Joel Laurinaitis and Mike Hickson, they got their start in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and they became like huge. They became household names because from how they started from the bottom, living in the streets of Chicago, being at that school hard knocks technique that they've always do to get many years later, and they were trained at the famous gym as as Joel Laurinaitis said in the DVD. That's where the Road Warriors got their start. That's what they became legendary. Joel Laurinaitis said at the famous gym, he was looking at the wall of all the big name sports athletes. Any sports athlete in the sports world, make it on the wall. Because Minneapolis, Minnesota is huge when it comes to wrestling. A lot of big name wrestlers have come from that area. Rick Rude, got Wrestle Soul, Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, so on and so on. And then you've got the Road Warriors. When the Road Warriors, when they were wrestling back in the Minneapolis area, they were like this is like their stomping grounds. When they were starting out, they started on Georgia Championship Wrestling back in 1983, and that was like their start, because a lot of the others, like the group consists of the Road Warriors, Jake Roberts, spoilers, it was short-lived, and the name you do for the Road Warriors, Ellen, and they made moves throughout their Hall of Fame career, and then it was talked about in the DVD, the lifetime of Dominant Tag Team Wrestling History 2005, and people will say how did the Legion of Doom became what it was, and Joe Laurinaitis said, and I quote, because he was Spielberg's cartoon, and they say the rest is history. But the Warriors back in the day, 1983, 1985, a little history lesson. They became one of those top, highly powerful tag team. Very straightforward, in your face, smash mouths, two of the toughest SOBs of the Bible Day in Minneapolis. So, and they will punch your lights out one way or another, and they'll tell you right to your face because they grew up living on the streets of Chicago. And they worked their way up through every territory that they have dominated. 1984 came crawling around, and they moved to Ferngani. When you think of Ferngani, he's like the maestro of AWA wrestling. Along with the match called they took on what Joel Laurinaitis said. They took on their idols, the Crusher and Baron Von Raschke, two of the toughest guys in wrestling. But they have tremendous amount of years of experience. And they beat the Crusher and Baron Von Raschke. Just watching that matchup in DVD, that was to be a dream match. I was just like, wow, just watching it in DVD. I mean, Warriors, Crusher, Baron Von Raschke, that was just classic. Warriors won AWA World Tag Team titles back in that year. AWA was still, I mean, they were the hot brand of wrestling back in the day. But the AWA was kind of like not. It is what it was back in the day, and then they became the AWA's top draws and probably the Fabulous Ones and the Fabulous Freebirds. And then when Rulers took on the Fabulous Freebirds, just watching that matchup back again just came fresh in my mind was a classic league with the Fabulous Freebirds. Greatest tag teams of all time. Fabulous Freebirds to me, they were quintessential tough guys. Well, not your average tough guys, but they come from the streets of fast food USA. And they really made Fabulous Freebirds what they were during over AWA wrestling time. They used the Black Sabbath theme song Iron Man because of Rulers' technique. So then after AWA, they toured through Japan because Rulers were wrestling in Japan. They were huge in Japan. They were so old. So they toured all Japan for wrestling from major Rulers, legends, and so they were in the Rulers back in the day, 1965 to 90. They won the NWA International Tag Team titles because the Rulers back in the day when they were wrestling like AWA, NWA, wherever they wrestled in Japan, they were huge. 1986 was when this was used in the DVD. They won the inaugural Jim Crockett Sr. Memorial Cup Tag Team Tournament, being the legendary Ryan Gardner 1988 finals. And they had that double chain match with Ivan Nikita Koloff. That was a classic. Just the way out You got the Rulers against IMDQ Club. Just the way that promo was set up, likewise, it was just classic. You can't call off. Come on. We're talking about one of the toughest SOBs from Russia. Come on. But the one match that I saw in the DVD, that was just legendary. Here you got the Rulers, Paul Allen against Midnight Express in a scalpel match. The way that match was set promo-wise, because Jim Cornette back in the day, he was running his mouth and he was barking up the wrong tree, and Warriors thought, like, well, let's make Midnight Express pay for it. In a scalpel match, that match was just, it was scarier to watch. So then, 1988, Haga quietly turned heel. People say, well, what's heel? Heel in wrestling terms, you're a bad guy, you're always going against the rules. So they formed an individual tag team titles, and they went into the house against Midnight Express. And Warriors basically, and that's 10 years after. And they took the Dusty Rhodes and they just took it to them. And before Dusty Rhodes was fired back at circuit, being class champs, allowed to pick a new part of all the individual 67. They picked all of Spanish superstar engineers with team. Years later, Warriors made their time in WCW at the time, and they made their last appearance between Norman Lunatic against Ken Saul, Cactus Family, Bigelow. It was good, but they left their story to the Heat, where they was a head booker to her according to Bill Nice on the first DVD. And Joel said that they made to the big dance and doing it back in the day, back in 1990, 1992. And as they made a team to use wrestling challenge and the Legion doing to Dr. Six He therefore his Legion dummies. Hawk and Animal took on Demolition at the time. That matchup in the DVD, that was like a one-sided beatdown for Demolition. They had their run, their run feud with Demolition at the time. Hawk and Animal teamed up with the Brotherhood champion, Delta Warrior against 3 members of Demolition. Billy actually his comments and agreed with me, please not watching the place where I crush. But I am Dorsey carrying through a smash accident to Will's match with the team. That matchup was just phenomenal. But the matchup in the DVD that really solidified Legion of Doom in WF back in the day when they took on the Nasty Boys. Jerry Sanders firing off stuff. It's just, I mean, you get both tag teams that are tougher than a $2 steak. I mean, Nasty Boys were just like tough as they are. But they defeated Nasty Boys in a little DQ street fight during the tag titles that year. But they did eventually lose the tag titles in Inc. Back at SummerSlam 92. That matchup was just back and forth. It was just the way that matchup was set up. And then LA returned to the original Empire and WrestleMania, incorporated two called Dominant Rocco. LA Road Northwicks, 8,000 pounds. He ate all in London after going down. Everything is still back to me. It's going messed up around. And she's uh, time with the foundation crushed now Pakistan's was the most cryptic in the base. That's a tan mystic guy, which is made full light, bakes hawk and house shows. And then and Hawk was not himself at the time. So Hawk left at the time because his mind was null, right? Due to mechanical wrestling. Even using during their time he was wrestling Hellraiser and all the others. Adam came back from Winter to join the duel in Japan with 3 split these warriors. He was Iron Man Master 13. They had to run WCW, came back to WWE at the time. They were rebranded as LD 2000. Hawk at the time was not himself because of his personal life, his drug and alcohol life really took effect on Hawk. I mean, the part in DVD that they really did was just beautiful. It was the way it was done. 1999, they appeared again, got back together, updated version of Warriors, New Millennium, during tag team battle royal, new look, new everything, new manager, but mm, they didn't fit the bill. But after much spy, they brought in Darren Draws of Robert Benson, Denver Broncos. The way it was used at DVD, it was quite weird. Like you got rulers who to me were the top best tag teams at the time. The team had been through like hell and back, and it's just like, and to bring in draws, kind of like a group. I mean, that just so they had they were left Dave at the time. They were back in the independent circuit. Michael Hicks known as well in wrestling business as Hawk finally got his life back in order. Born again Christian, pretty intensely as his religion and wrestling shows were briefly appeared in their promotion until months of action during the early days. They had Warriors got back together the last TV appearance, which I remember quite frankly just watching at the tag channels at the time. All went down. Kane taking on the return Legion of Doom. I remember watching it, I was just like, shit. I mean, this was like a classic. I mean, this was Warriors' last run, and eventually their third run. I mean, their last run as a tag team before Hawk eventually passing that year. But Animal keep the Legion to name alive. He did return to the company years later, and he tagged with Heinrich as Heinrich was as the newest member of Legion of Doom because after Hawk's passing, they say they were, you gotta keep the ball rolling, and when you think of Warriors' legacy, they to me were like the top best tag team of all time. And then back in 2011, the Warriors were inducted into the Hall of Fame. Beautiful. But when you think of the Warriors' legacy and the DVD, the way it was set up, how they show the Warriors' life, how they grew up living in the streets of Chicago, moved in Minneapolis, they say the rest is history. They wrestled every territory all around, and then some. Gradually, Mike Hankstein's Hawk life took a different turn. What would you think of Legion of Doom Warriors wrestling legacy? They were like the godfathers of wrestling, of tag team wrestling. They see it, done it, and then some. But when you think of the DVD, when you think of the DVD itself, this was all one for the ages. The way that WWE did a whole thing of the Rulers Legacy Tag Team. This was classic. Oh, rush.